How's it going, everybody? Glenn and Ben here from the Good Movie Monday podcast, coming at you from the other side of the desk. Well, you're on the same side.
I'm always on this side.
Yeah, but I thought I'd join Ben because it's much cozier on this side.
You've joined your father on the dark side.
Yeah. Did you fart? Like, there's a little bit of that going on.
Wait.
Yeah. So we're here to do some reactionary reactions.
React to that.
We are going to combine two on this video because we did see two films in the last few days. The Northman, the new Robert Eggers film, and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is the new Nicolas Cage film. Don't remember the director's name. I think it's the second film he's made.
Yes.
Let's start with The Northman, I think. I think we reacted very differently to this one.
Yes.
I really liked it. I came out of this one thoroughly.
You were pumped.
I was pumped.
You were ready to go crack some skulls.
And you know what? Like, because I don't generally do this genre easily. Like, I don't enjoy Viking movies, Viking shows. I don't enjoy that sort of era of storytelling. But this one was a traditional tale of revenge. It was basically Hamlet. Like, it's the story of Hamlet.
It's every Viking movie. The Vikings, the Norsemen, the long ships.
But as far as like the story
Prince
and the structure
Valiant
goes, it is definitely Hamlet. He seeks revenge on his father's murder by the hands of his uncle and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've never read Shakespeare.
In terms of Viking lore and stuff, what I liked about this, it's clearly brutal. Very,
it's
very
Christian too. It's it's Valhalla Vikings.
Yeah,
not Christian conversion.
But
Vikings.
What I liked about this, and because of the pre-Christian stuff, a lot of the lore is in this. So there's a lot of fantasy components to it, which kind of at first feel a bit jarring because suddenly in this story of revenge, you've got images of Valhalla. You've got like a sort of a pagan witch kind of character.
It's very American Indian sweat tent.
Totally. And
type stuff.
At first when I'm watching, I'm thinking, oh, look, if only this component wasn't there. But then as they kept doing it, suddenly I'm like, well, no, because this was a belief system in those days. Like they did believe they would march on a horse to Valhalla. And did you notice
if they died in combat?
If they died in combat. Did you notice who the horseman was? That was Bill Skarsgård. That played Pennywise in the...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because he was cast in the film and I knew he was in it. I'm trying to find him and I couldn't. Then when I went looking him up, it didn't even look like him.
He rides a pale horse.
He does with a pale face.
With a pale face.
Yep.
That's racist.
But it, I got a kick out of it. Ben didn't.
I did not care for it. I've just been watching Vikings Valhalla on Netflix, and I thought that was much better. I found Nicole Kidman to be grating in this, and the kid at the start was annoying. I liked the Viking, the Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård stuff at the start, where he escapes after after his family is killed, and his uncle takes over because he's Ethan Hawke's son, who's the Thane of this, or king of this tribe of Vikings, and they're all killed, and he escapes in a boat when the rest of his family is slaughtered, and he makes it over to the land of the Russ, where he becomes a raider. He grows up to be it's like the Barbarians. I don't know if you remember that film, The Barbarians, with the Barbarian brothers, and they're slaves who are working the flour grinding mill, pushing things, and they go from like these weak little kids into these muscle bound hulks, and you're like, there's no way, without proper nutrition and supplements, there's no fucking way that malnourished slaves are going to get that big. And that's like Alexander Skarsgård in this. He is hulked up to that Bo Hopkins Arnie level, where he can't, like, the running scenes are a bit cringeworthy to watch.
Yeah, round his shoulders,
so muscly that he can barely move,
and definitely
he can't do that.
He's the physique of an 80s action star.
Yeah,
for sure. But interesting you say that, because you look at a lot of those slave movies, like the African American slave trade, like your Armour Stars and that, those slaves were jacked too.
That's because they're actors playing slaves.
But I mean, you could have
Like
you
they
could,
were-
but there are malnourished actors or skinny actors you could put in, like the guy that plays I'm the Captain now, right? You could put him in a film as a slave.
Mhm.
But there must be some truth to that classic ripped physique,
not the ripped physique. I think there are naturally big,
toned.
Guys, but I don't think they were necessarily. I think it's like the difference between like an Arnie who is a bodybuilder
Pumps iron.
versus one of the guys who is like the strongest man in the world. Like
So
they
you're-
are undoubtedly stronger than Arnie.
So you're thinking
They
maybe
aren't ripped.
instead of I guess the guy from Armistead, what's his name? Jamon Himus, that guy.
Digimon Hansu.
Yes. So maybe they'd be more realistic if they got that Michael Clark Duncan.
Well, they would be more. No, well, they would say they'd be more realistic if they had like a Yaphet Kodo.
Right. Okay.
But that aside, like I don't have a problem with that. It's just one of those things that it struck me. I'm like, how is this guy? Like all the Vikings are totally fucking jacked. Like they're on the juice.
They are.
There's no way they're not on the juice. But they go through and they rape and pillage and they massacre this village, and it's amazing. That stuff I really enjoyed.
Yep.
But then suddenly he finds this weird moral compass where he won't kill women. You've just like participated in the slaughter of women and children 5 minutes ago, and now no, I'm not going to do that. No, it's wrong.
He does.
Really wrong.
Look, he does sustain possibly one of the greatest injuries ever on
certainly
film. Like, and I'm not going to tell you what that is, but there is a glorious
it's also
wound in this film.
It's also weird that it looks like they had about 50 extras.
Yeah, I know. It's a small film. Like it's an epic sprawling film, but the screen is occupied by mountains and valleys and things like that. But the village is small. It's centered.
Ethan Hawke's kingdom looks like it has 50 people in it.
Which
the village that they raid looks like it has more people than his kingdom.
I kind of feel like that's realistic. I reckon there would have been small community kingdoms.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a historian, but I enjoyed the shit out of this film. Should we move on to the next one, which I think we both agree is fucking awesome? It's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the new Nicolas Cage film. Nicolas Cage plays Nick Cage.
And Nicolas Cage. He plays himself and he plays his alter ego, his much younger movie star alter ego.
His
who gives good smooches.
His wild at heart self.
Yeah.
And
which I thought it looked like his character from Parents. Which is that they've used the CGI de-aging.
Yes,
and it's amazing. It is amazing.
It's and it doesn't bother you that he's computerized, de-aged, or whatever, because it's a fantasy element of the film, so it makes no difference. But tell you what, this is a great film. There's a particular component to this film that I like the most that I can't talk about because it's a huge spoiler.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about, and we'll talk about it off camera.
It's when Nicolas Cage jerks himself off. Like his alter ego.
But he essentially plays a fictionalized version of himself that's not too far from fiction because he's been making a string of shit movies.
I would say it's only fictionalized because he's reading off a script. Otherwise, it's 100% him.
They acknowledge all the bad films he's made recently. They acknowledge all the films he's made previously. I was particularly happy that they referenced stuff like Guarding Tess, which actually played a much bigger conversation part in the film than it should have.
It's like that Jean-Claude Van Johnson TV show on Amazon Prime where they make a big deal about the logic of Time Cop and stuff, and it plays into the film. And
this
Pedro Pascal is amazing in this.
He is like if ever Nicolas Cage was gonna be this close to being upstaged,
it's by Pedro Pascal in this film.
Pascal is, to me, the show stealer. I mean, obviously, Nick Cage gets the chance to be that neurotic, outrageous Nick Cage with so much more context than ever before.
Yeah.
But this Dan co-star of his, could almost be the fucking lead. Like, he's that good.
He's that good. And it is a really interesting cast. Like, I love that, his wife is played by Sharon Horgan, the British comedian.
Yeah.
His daughter is Lily Mo Sheen, the daughter of Kate Beckinsale and
Michael Sheen.
And
she's the perfect amalgamation of both. You put their faces together and that's her.
She's 100% there. And so all of these minor characters are actually really good in the film. I thought it was pitch perfect in every aspect. There are scenes that you're pissing yourself laughing. There's some great genuine action in it. It is really, I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed Tiffany Haddish as well.
Yeah.
She was really good in it. And I was when
she
her
could have gone
character is
down that
revealed-
Leslie Jones road, and she
Yeah.
didn't.
And
Yeah.
when her character is revealed to you, like, oh, come on, this
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. Not at one point does she play Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a really kind of good, kind of nuanced performance from her. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was excellent. It's got possibly one of the greatest acid trips you're ever gonna see.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just an acid trip; it's a prolonged acid trip.
Yeah.
And just every step of the way gets funnier and funnier.
It makes it look like doing acid is so much fun. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to do acid in the foyer afterwards.
And these meta actors playing themselves movies are nothing new. You mentioned the Van Damme one. What's it called?
Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Yep. But I mean, this one took me right back to being John Malkovich, which in turn, if you think about it, the spin-off from that was Adaptation, which starred Nicolas Cage. So it sort of comes full circle there.
He's playing himself. He's playing a twin. He's playing a dual role again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fucking weird. This is a weird film. It is a Charlie Kaufman film that is much more accessible.
I would say it's going to have to be...
If you know who Charlie Kaufman is.
It's going to have to be... I was surprised that this wasn't a Charlie Kaufman film.
No.
It's like a more commercial Charlie Kaufman. But it would have to be a phenomenal year if this film doesn't make it into my top 10 for 2022.
Wow, be cool. I mean,
it's
so far
early,
it is. So far it is for me, but
I think it would have to be something extraordinary to knock it. Like there'd have to be 10 films that are extraordinary to knock this one out of the top 10.
Wow, I mean,
but at the moment, I think it's. I know there is another one. There's another couple that I have seen that we have talked about on the show that I just can't remember right now. I have to look at my letterbox list that I thought at the time, like X, and so that would be in that top 10. But at the moment, this one's sitting at the top. I think for me.
Wow, interesting.
Norseman does not make the cut.
Norseman
Eggers
does not make my cut either. Did they reference Pig in the movie? I can't remember.
No, I don't think they do.
No,
like they kind of stick to the DTV stuff
and the Michael Bay stuff,
and like the his earlier stuff. Like there's some Cameron Poe, and there's a lot of references to those films, but they don't really talk about his more recent art house ones. Like they don't talk the Ghostland movie that
the Prisoners of the Ghostland.
They don't talk about any of that kind of.
But they do reference the fact that
they do reference
those films. Yeah, they reference the fact that those type of movies have brought him to where he is right now.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Yeah,
right,
because he's in a bit of a slump.
Although I would say those last 3 or 4 years have been the resurrection of Nicolas Cage because he's embraced the weird.
I mean, well, that's the thing though. Nicolas Cage is unique. Like Bruce Willis was trying to do it and failed miserably.
Yeah.
But Nicolas Cage can walk the line of doing this weird DTV shit where he plays like the bad guy in a weird drug movie.
Yeah.
And then still do...
But he's also been transparent because he's fessed up that I've got bills to pay. Like I've got debts, I've got properties.
He just wants to work.
Well, that too. But he has been on the record saying like, I lost 20 houses and I had to pay for them. And that's when he started going down the whole Left Behind road and taking up those. But like you were about to say, for every shit movie he's done, there's a really fucking good one because stuff in between like Joe gets forgotten. Like Pig, definitely. Like there's stuff like that. He's done some corkers, man.
Yeah, Mandy was a big one for him. Like Mandy led to Miff doing a Nicolas Cage retrospective.
Yep. I even like Color Out of Space. I love that one.
Fantastic film.
Yeah. So anyway, check it out. If you are not convinced on either of these films, stick around. I'll put short trailers on the end of this video, and we'll catch you. Oh, don't forget, watch next week's. Listen to next week's podcast. And if you didn't listen to Monday's just gone, we interviewed Brian Yuzna, and it's a really cool conversation. There's a video of that, full video. It's nearly an hour and a half long on wherever you're watching this from. So
we talk about eating while you're shitting.
Yeah, and
incest,
lots of shunting.
Father!
Witness the rise of the Northmen. A traitor stole my kingdom.
I will burn his world to the ground.
By the hand that killed your father, you will die. At the gates of hell you will find me.
The Northmen, the legend begins. Rated R.
Massive talent. He's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Don't freak out.
Oh my
my God! Every once in a while, a movie comes along that's so hilarious. I say, ha! And so lovable. I love you! I love you! You'll want to see it in a theater. Hit the brake! Don't worry, he's totally passed out. Massive talent. You're heavier than you look. I have a very big head. Rated R, April 22nd.